A quarterback whose something is elite. Another quarterback who has 277 kids. A head coach that probably likes Burger King. And a wide receiver that likes to be referred to as...
Call me Mr. Big Chest. Big Chest from now on. Big Chest Brown from now on.
This is the AFC West. Oh god, anyways guys, how are you doing? It's Epic here. Welcome back to my series where I tell you where your team will fall in 2019. Now, let's get to it. The AFC West is on tap. We got the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chiefs, and the Chargers coming up. Woo! That is a fun bunch, guys. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We're doing this series all summer. We're going to get out all 8 divisions. We're going to try and make a little playoff prediction once we get there, but for now, let's just focus on who's going to win each division, how our teams are going to do, the high ends, the low ends, the predictions. You guys know what we do here. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. And the first team we're going to talk about in this video is the Oakland Raiders.
Fires, end zone, touchdown! Jordy Nelson! Raiders take the lead!
Oh boy, the Raiders. The Raiders. Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams jump on board with Trent Brown on a massive contract from the New England Patriots. They get Josh Jacobs, the best running back in college football. I like that pick. Defensively, they add Clelin Ferrell at number 4, total reach. John Abram, total reach. LaMarcus Joyner, I don't know how he'll do, but he's something. There's just a huge jumble of pieces on this team, along with Derek Carr, who's crying in meetings and all that jazz. So let's go to my prediction. So the Raiders could be the 2015 Bengals. They could also be just what they were last year, a 4-12 ball club. Don't do very much at all, more noise than anything else. But let's talk about the high end, the Cincinnati Bengals of 2015. So this Bengals team finished 12-4, first in their division. A lot of pieces on that team. You've got AJ Green, Marvin Jones, Tyler Eifert had a big year, Andy Dalton surprised everyone with a really good year. Hugh Jackson was the offensive coordinator. Vontaze Burfict on defense, he was on that Bengals team. Andy Dalton was really good. They finished 7 points scored, 11th in yards allowed. That's something I could see the Raiders doing, but the jumble of pieces would have to be perfect, and it would have to be some anomaly of a season that no one could ever see coming. Again, you win with your talent, and the low end would be the Raiders of last year. Derek Carr's crying in meetings, Antonio Brown's bringing drama. The talent doesn't really translate to wins at all. And honestly, I think that this is more likely than anything else. They could be going back to square one. They could be hitting the reset button again. And with that, my prediction is the Raiders will be a 5-11 football team. And honestly, I think that's the most accurate prediction I can make today. The Raiders going 5-11. All right, that's the Raiders, guys. Let's talk about, going forward, the Denver Broncos.
Side the 5. Lindsey breaking the initial tackle, and the rookie strolling into the end zone.
So the real story with the Denver Broncos is getting Joe Flacco from the Baltimore Ravens in a trade. In the backfield, he joins Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay. Now, they drafted Noah Fant, who I really like. It's going to be interesting what kind of identity they will have on offense, though, because they look a lot like the Ravens. The Ravens, tight end centric offense, run the ball. Joe Flacco does enough, and the defense does well enough so they can win close games. Defensively, the Broncos seem like they're going to figure it out. Vic Fangio's the best defensive coordinator in the league last year. He's their head coach now. So Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, I think those two could each have 12-plus sacks. They added Kareem Jackson in the secondary, and they re-signed Chris Harris. Those are 2 really solid players. So where does that bring me to with the Denver Broncos? So as a high end, I have the 2015 New York Jets. As a low end, how about the 2018 pre-Lamar Jackson Baltimore Ravens? Let's start with the high end. So the high end is the 2015 Jets. So the Jets brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick as a short-term quarterback, along with Todd Bowles, who is a defensive-minded head coach, just like Vic Fangio. They went 10-6. They were 4th in the league in yards allowed and managed to finish 10th in rushing yards, just like I see the Broncos can doing with Lindsey and Royce Freeman, who were 2 really talented rookies last season. Like I said, they finished 10-6. The Broncos were going to have to follow a path like that to make the playoffs. Flacco would have to make some big throws, but I could see 10-6. I really could. The recipe is there. And the low end would be being kind of what they were last year. They were 4-5 before Lamar Jackson took over. Their defense was great, but offensively, there just wasn't enough to make it interesting. And you know, I don't think John Elway's making it easy on himself here, going with all these short-term QBs. None of them ever seem to work. It's hard to see Flacco being that much different than he was in Baltimore. So let's go to the prediction now. So the prediction I had for the Denver Broncos is a 7-9 record. I think that they are much more similar to the Baltimore Ravens of last year than they are to the New York Jets, because I think that the John Elway solution of short-term QBs is not working. I just don't see Flacco being any different with this strategy. I think Vic Fangio is going to help this defense be really good, but are they going to be as good as the Ravens last year, who were first in yards allowed? I don't see it happening. I got them going 7-9 as of right now. If Drew Lock joins the mix, that completely changes this whole thing, but as of right now, I say Flacco keeps the job. They go 7-9, and they move on from after this season. Up next for you guys, I got the LA Chargers.
Rivers, pass is caught for the touchdown by Williams.
Alright, and what's most important to remember with the Chargers is that they have so much depth on their team, and they are just so much more talented than a lot of these teams I'm going to talk about in this series. The talent is so undeniable. Offensively, they got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, along with Hunter Henry joining the mix again. Melvin Gordon is a great back. Phillip Rivers is getting old though, and that's something to keep in mind. Anthony Lynn is a great head coach. He's proven it. Defensively, they're going to have a full season of Joey Bosa, hopefully. Melvin Ingram, Derwin James. They added Thomas Davis for leadership purposes. They're getting Jason Verrett back to go with Casey Hayward in the secondary. There's really not that much to talk about other than that. They're just so talented. So what do I think they could do? Well, let's see. As a high end, I have them as the 2016 Pittsburgh Steelers. As a low end, how about the 2018 New York Giants? So let's talk about the high end, the Steelers. Talent will lead them to the 2 seed in the AFC. They basically were the 1 seed last year, but they were tied with Kansas City, and they had to be a wild card because you can't have 2 teams having home field advantage in the same division. So the Chargers could very well win this division with their talent if the Chiefs don't do as well as them record-wise. It's difficult to see them not making the playoffs because of all this talent. And the 2016 Steelers, remember, they had Brown, Bell, and Ben all playing at a super high level. You got Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers, and Melvin Gordon, along with the talent on the outside and the offensive line. I got them finishing pretty similar to this high end here. And the low end, the 2018 New York Giants. Is Phillip Rivers a shot fighter this year? Is this it? He's getting older. He has a history of finishing, pretty poorly going in late in the season. This is a possibility, guys. This is a possibility. And the Giants have a lot of talent. Odell Beckham. They got their Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram. They got Sterling Shepard, the Mike Williams. Similarly, this team could very well be the Giants if Phillip Rivers falls off. Now, I think they're more talented than the Giants were last year, but it's something to keep in mind. I think that's their low end for this year. And as a prediction, I have them going 10-6. Their high end record-wise would be about 11-5. Their low end would be around 5-11 like the Giants were this year. I think 10-6 is a very fair record. I think Rivers is going to fall off a little bit, but don't think that I would be surprised if they win the division and they get a 2 seed in the AFC. And finally, the team that will finish first in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pressure now on Mahomes. He's in trouble. Now gets it away. Are you kidding me?
The Kansas City Chiefs are my number 1 team in the AFC West for 2019. Let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs made a lot of moves this offseason. So did their star wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. The situation is not finished yet by any means. The court case is inactive, but he's still not talked to Goodell yet, and Goodell is going to have the biggest impact in this situation on anybody. Goodell suspends Tyreek Hill for 8 games, which is, I think, very likely, because they're trying to protect publicity. This is a totally different team. This is a totally different team. The fans are not going to get behind Tyreek Hill playing if he ever does. And I think that's a huge part of analyzing the Chiefs. So let's talk about that. like I said, Goodell's to talk to him. I think something's gonna come of that. Defensively, they lost D Ford and Justin Houston, as well as Eric Berry, although he was aging. They added Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu. Those are two solid pieces. They overpaid for Frank Clark a little bit. And it's just a matter of pulling through for the offense if you're the Chiefs' defense. Now, let's talk about the high end and the low end for this team. Because if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, which I don't think he will, this is a totally different team. So my high end, I'm going to cheat here a little. I said 5 years. I'm going to cheat here a little bit. This is very similar. If Tyreek Hill plays at all and plays well, this could be the 2011 Green Bay Packers that went 15-1 and broke a bunch of offensive records. The Packers had speed to burn, just like the Chiefs do right now. Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Jermichael Finley, James Jones, you name it, they put up record numbers. And they drafted McCole Hardman, who reminds me a lot of Randall Cobb, sort of what the Packers did after winning the Super Bowl in 2010. There's a 15-1 squad. The offense is amazing, carries them to the playoffs. They finished the 1 seed in the AFC. I could see that if the Chiefs take that step forward. And now let's talk about the low end for the Kansas City Chiefs. How about an AFC West rival, the 2017 Oakland Raiders? And this is dependent on Patrick Mahomes either developing or regressing. I think it's a possibility he regresses. Call me crazy, there is a possibility that he regresses. Remember Derek Carr in 2016, he was an MVP candidate, he was dubbed the next Aaron Rodgers, the team finished 12-4, and he was putting up some crazy offensive numbers just like Mahomes did last year. Not quite as crazy as Mahomes, but it was kind of the thing. Derek Carr was a rising star QB who compared to Aaron Rodgers, just like Mahomes is right now. If Patrick Mahomes regresses, they will be a 6-10 football team, just like the Raiders were when Derek Carr regressed. So anyways, to my prediction for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think Mahomes will develop, not regress. I think that Tyreek Hill will play and play enough for this team to win football games. The Andy Reid system always produces rushing yards on the ground from the running backs. Defensively, they will be somewhat, but they were 32nd last year in yards allowed. They're going to be better this year. I have them going 11-5, winning the AFC West. This is a super talented offensive football team, and I think they're going to progress, not regress from an offensive standpoint, with or without Tyreek Hill. Now, granted, if he does not play, they will only win 11 games. If he does play, I could see them winning closer to 15. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and as always, please leave a sub if you guys are interested in my content. Let's go over the AFC West picks one more time. The Chiefs will finish first, the Chargers second, the Broncos third, and the Raiders fourth. Now, let's send it over to my big board so we can see the full picture so far. I got the AFC and the NFC West done so far, guys. So if you guys want to see more content, hit that like button. Please send it to your friends. Let's talk about these predictions together. And if you guys want to see the South or the North for the NFC and AFC next, please let me know. I have not decided yet what we're going to do next. We might go North, might go South, haven't decided. Please leave it down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys want. Without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.